When it comes to addiction, so many people get so caught up in the actual addiction itself that it overrides all forms of rationality, rational thinking. And that's because you are engaging in something that is the complete opposite of rational thinking. And when you do that, when you're stuck in a vicious cycle of self destruction, the more you give into that and the more you just keep coming back for your fix, the more you separate yourself from rational thinking and foresight and proper prior planning. And when you do that, folks, the harder it makes it much more difficult to get into that framework of thinking. That's why after a year or two, or even 3 years, or even a few months of an addiction, some people oftentimes have a lot of difficulty letting go of that addiction, let alone getting into a framework of thinking where they can even desire to let go of that addiction. I hope that makes sense. So what I'm essentially saying here, ladies and gentlemen, is that the more you engage in self-destruction, the more you separate yourself from rationality, because self-destruction is a byproduct of a lack of responsibility and rational thinking. And because you are lacking that particular trait by coming back for your fix, by default, you are actually pushing yourself further away from rationality. Therefore, it puts a gap between you and we can consider it normal thinking. And the further you are from normal thinking or rational thinking, where you choose not to destroy yourself, where you choose not to do drugs, where you choose not to smoke, where you choose not to drink, the further you put a gap in between the two, and now there's a schism. There's a division between right and wrong. And the more you lean towards wrong, the harder it makes doing the right thing seem. And that's why, for many people, and I've communicated with many of them, and this was the same for me as well, ladies and gentlemen. My cat's meowing at the door. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but reality had to come around and snap me out of my lack of responsible thinking and acting. And it did that through cataclysm. First, it was a simple mistake. The next time it was a mistake that I made, or maybe I did something to someone that I felt a lot of guilt about. And the more I kept violating the second chance I was being given, the more you don't listen to that soft voice. And I talk about this often on my videos about addiction and alcoholism, because it's a very real thing. It's very important. But the more you don't listen to the subtle clues that the universe or God, whatever you want to call it, gives you to wake up from your addiction, to turn around and walk the opposite direction, the more you don't listen to that, the harder you fall the next time. And you will absolutely fall. You will absolutely make mistakes. You will absolutely hurt people unless you get your shit together, because the road of addiction is riddled in traps. It is riddled in booby traps, ladies and gentlemen, and they are all self-induced, because at the end of the day, you are the one making the decision to engage in your addiction. You at any given time have the ability to turn your life around, folks. But in the perpetual haze of addiction, it's hard to realize that, because it can be a number of different reasons. For one, most people's thoughts and mind become clouded in a state of addiction because it feels so good. It feels good to most people to get high. It feels good to get drunk. It feels good to kind of numb yourself and escape reality. But the more you decide to escape reality, the harder it makes reality when you come back into sobriety. Reality just burns 1,000 times brighter. Everything does. Your emotions are haywire. When you quit your addiction, if you've been doing it for a long time, everything just seems intense, because you're finally handling reality from the foundation of sobriety and, a lack of intoxication. Think about that word, intoxication. You are inviting toxins into your system. Inviting toxins into your system. And people ask me, dude, how long is it going to take for me to start feeling better? I just recently quit. It's been a month. I've been off booze and I feel like shit. What's the deal? Ladies and gentlemen, no one said it was going to be easy, but I can assure you that if you stay on the path of health, it will reward you 10,000-fold. But you've done damage to yourself. You've done damage to your coping mechanisms, especially. This is beyond the physical. Harming the physical body with intoxicants and pollutants does indeed affect you physically, but it also affects you emotionally and mentally, because when you intoxicate the body, because the body is connected to the mind also gets numbed as the body does as well, if that makes sense. So over time, when you are addicted to something, you learn to cope with reality based on how you feel while you're drunk, while you're high, while you have cigarettes, you name it. You learn to look at reality through the lens of your addiction. And because of that, when you take that lens away, everything is brighter, everything's more intense. You are left with the chattering monkey of your mind that you've been numbing. I hope that makes sense. Now, the chattering monkey of the mind I don't really want to talk about that in this video, but when you come off of alcohol, ladies and gentlemen, oftentimes your thoughts are racing. When you come off of drugs as well, it's because you're literally like your mind is being shifted through all of these different like metaphoric filing cabinets, and it's coping with things and trying to find equilibrium. You've got to give yourself time. You've got to give your body and your mind time to heal. You need to focus on sleep, and you need to focus on putting energy into productive things, being creative. Hell, document your journey of sobriety, and after a month or two, you can post it on, or as you do it, you could even post it, and you can inspire other people to do similar things. Do something creative with what you've done, regardless of how bad it is. That is the process of transmutation. That is alchemy. Transmutation or alchemy is the science of taking one thing that's usually in a crude state and transforming it, or transmuting it, exalting it into something higher. So kind of a simplistic metaphor, I've mentioned water distillation in the past, but when you distill water, you leave all the crap from the tap water in the boil kettle, and you distill water, and it's just pure H2O. There's no more fluoride or anything left in it. You've taken something with a bunch of unnecessary materials in it, and you've turned it into something more pure. The ascent from a demon into a angel, could be considered a act of alchemy. And I don't mean an actual literal demon, but like a demonic trait, something that is destructive, and turning it into something angelic, an angelic trait, which angelic traits, those are things that are productive. Those are things that give you things back, give you value. A demonic trait, and again, I don't mean actual physical demons or any of this nonsense. A demonic trait would be something that, like alcoholism, where you drink and it gives you a temporary escape from something, but when it wears off, it completely, as it wears off, or not as it wears off. What am I trying to say, damn it? Alcohol is a destructive demonic trait, or alcoholism, because it gives you something, a temporary escape at the expense of taking 10 things from you. It gives you one thing, and it doesn't actually even give you anything because it takes it back. It's temporary. It's like, oh, I'm nervous. I've got to go to this event. So I drink, I get drunk. Then it wears off and you're back to where you were before you drank. If you're drinking to escape from something, it means that there needs to be something there's something in your sober life that needs to be addressed. Alcohol is not the cure to anxiety, ladies and gentlemen. Drugs are not the cure to depression. Alcohol, again, is not the cure for anxiety or depression or any of this nonsense. So by default, the more you lean on an addiction or, a drug or alcohol to cope with reality and to deal with things like anxiety, the more you train your mind to and your body to rely on these substances. And because the physical body is the clay of the mind, and your physical body reacts to your thoughts, your emotions, you actually train your body to crave alcohol when it's under stress, because you're using this literally as a de-stressing agent. The body becomes accustomed to it. You see, the mind is much more powerful than you give it credit for. Now, if your mind can put you into a situation of addiction and trouble and strife and turmoil and all this depression and all this bullshit, then you bet your ass it can turn things around and turn that demonic, I don't want to call it demonic, but that we all have energy that needs to be transmuted. Your mind can transmute things. you can initiate a process of personal evolution and climb the hell out of the hell that you're currently in, folks. But it requires use of this, the mind. And that is something that you were not taught how to do in the public school system. That is something that you were not taught when you watched all the television programs from infancy, when you were put in front of that damn television because your parents were busy, making a living. I'm not judging them, but my God, we have such stressful lives here in this world. And that's why so many people consume alcohol. That's why so many people consume drugs. And I can't blame them. I am not judging, but I want to see you not fall into that trap. And I want to see you turn that alchemical lead into gold, ladies and gentlemen. You have the ability to do it. I know if I can do it, you can do it. But you better catch on quick, and you better let this message into your heart and into your mind, and you better let it animate your spirit. Because if I can get into your spirit, if I can get into your heart and animate your spirit to create some type of action towards you getting sober, you need to listen to that. You need to look at this as, flint being struck with metal, trying to ignite your fire. I'm trying to start a fire in people's hearts. Take care of your health. There is nothing more beautiful, there's nothing more engaging than turning your life around and experiencing the transmutation process and turning lesser qualities into higher qualities. Because once you realize, ladies and gentlemen, now listen closely, because this is very important. Once you realize that it takes more effort to destroy yourself than to evolve yourself and to be successful and to be happy, you'll have it all figured out. It requires much more effort. Excuse me whittling my wand, but this helps me with my thinking process. Once you realize, ladies and gentlemen, that it requires much more effort to destroy yourself and to be addicted and to go and find your booze and to get the money to do it and to call your drug dealer and go pick your shit up and to not get caught and all this other nonsense. Once you realize that that is taking up so much of your energy and so much of your willpower, just flip the switch around. It requires actually more effort to be an unsuccessful person than it does to be a successful person. And that's what you've never been taught, and that's what you've never been told. And that's what the system doesn't want you to understand. They want you to think that success is something that's very difficult to attain. They want you to think that success is something that's outside of your reach. And because you've bought into that, and because you've bought into the stress, the idea of stress, you've engaged in an unnatural way of de-stressing, which is alcohol, drugs, addiction, cigarettes, you name it. And those aren't the only addictions, but those are very common ones. But you just have to flip the switch, ladies and gentlemen. And I believe in you. I want to see you thrive. And I love you. This channel may not be big. This channel may not be large. This channel might not reach as many people as I wish it would. But, there's over 16,000 people subscribed to this channel. And on most of my videos, I only get upwards of 1,000 views in a 1-month period. And then they slowly climb up from there. But you know what? I was thinking about it the other day. I was going through YouTube and I was finding these channels that to me just seem so silly, stupid channels that provide nothing beneficial. They're non-educational. They're just like prank channels. And to see these people just falling ass backwards into success and to see so many people enjoying these channels, it really got to me, but I had to catch on quickly and go, okay, wait a second. My videos aren't reaching anywhere near as many people or as these other channels, but my viewers really appreciate my content. They really listen and they really take my messages to heart. And I know this based on communicating with you guys. I do my best to answer all the comments and make sure that you guys know that I care. And I've seen the comments, I've seen the feedback, and I know based on them and how you guys talk and word your comments that you're listening to these videos and it's helping you, or that you're getting some benefit from it. And I benefit from them, from your comments as well. I've learned a lot from you guys. Video recommendations, book recommendations. People have corrected me where I was wrong when I said certain things in the past. It's great to have this community. And my viewers actually pay more attention, I think, to, even though I have less views, they're more sincere views. Let's put it that way. So I don't want to get on. I apologize, guys. It's just sometimes it's like I put my heart and soul into this stuff. And I wish it would reach more people. But you know what? I was thinking, it's like my typical My typical video nowadays will get about 1,000 views within, a 15 to 30 day period. And 1,000 people if you put 1,000 people into a public setting, that's a lot of people. So I love that I'm able to reach people, and even though those numbers might not be exactly as high as I wish they would, the fact that I'm actually reaching that many people really humbles me. Excuse me. Now, I recently got a question from someone, and I can't remember exactly how it was worded, and this is related to alcoholism, ladies and gentlemen, but it was something to the effect of, and bear with me for a minute while I remember this. This person was struggling to quit drinking alcohol, or no. This person was struggling they had been sober for about 2 weeks, and they had finally gotten through the withdrawals, and they were starting to feel a little bit better. But it takes a while to actually feel complete, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to lie. But they were struggling to remain sober, not struggling, but the person said they were having difficulty and they were craving alcohol. And then they were also this person was trying to quit smoking cigarettes and drink coffee all at the same time. You need to work one step at a time. This is crucial. Don't try to be a hero. You don't have to try to be Perseus from Clash of the Titans and, go defeat the Kraken and the Medusa all in one day. You've got to focus one thing at a time. What I've always favored is looking at I'm going to go through what's harming my life the most, and I'm going to address that first and then move from there. Now, obviously, if you have like a drinking problem and a heroin problem all at the same time, or a speed problem, you have multiple addictions like that, you're going to want to address all three of those, and you're going to want to go see a professional medical specialist. Did I say that right? A professional medical specialist. You want to go talk to someone, even if it's just alcohol. If you're an alcoholic, if you use drugs, go see a professional medical specialist. I think I said that right. Medical professionals, whatever. You catch my drift. Certain things, like you can't just I'm addicted to, for instance, if someone was addicted to alcohol, speed, and heroin, it's like, I'm just going to quit one at a time. Then I'm going to, you need to go talk to someone immediately so that you can save your life, because that mixture alone can kill you. Alcoholism can kill you, not to mention if you throw everything else. So some things you can't work one at a time. You've got to, go talk to someone. Most addiction specialists will tell you this as well. It's like, okay, you've just quit drinking alcohol. Don't worry so much about the cigarettes. Lean on the cigarettes, lean on the tobacco until you get yourself to a point where you're comfortable without the alcohol and you can be sober. Then worry about the cigarettes. I know that may sound kind of contradictory because this is a health channel, but it can be much more detrimental, ladies and gentlemen, to try to take on so many responsibilities all at once. It puts a lot of stress on the body as well, and that's not good. Your body is already stressed from the fact that you've been abusing it. Hate to tell you, but quitting things cold turkey puts a lot of stress on the body, especially alcohol. Alcohol is one of the most dangerous things to withdraw from. It's one of the most dangerous things to just up and quit. So you need to seek professional attention. All I can do is help guide you towards that and hope that you actually listen. Because you are not invincible. Things happen to people. Don't let things happen to you that are bad when they can be avoided. That's what I'm getting at. It's time to wake up. It's time to realize that you have a lot to offer this world. It's time to realize that you are squandering your time, you're wasting time, and that wasting time pretty much breeds nothing good, folks. So let me see if I can punch this up really quick. Okay, we'll save that for a different discussion. I was going to bring up some statistics, but it's going to have to wait. So I hope that made sense, what I just mentioned a couple minutes ago about how if you had multiple addictions, sometimes you can't just go, okay, I'm going to quit this one first and then this one first and then that one first. Certain things are incredibly dangerous. So if you're using like heroin and alcohol, you can't just go, okay, I'm going to quit this one first and then the next one. You need to go see someone immediately. You need to stop this video right now and make a phone call and set up an appointment. I've given you the disclaimer. I'm not recommending any form of detox. The only thing I'm recommending here is that you find it in your heart to desire to quit and listen to that soft voice, because that's your soul speaking to you, trying to get past all of your blockages that your conscious mind has created from living in this insane world. Make a phone call. If you go to like Google right now, drug addiction help near me, enter. There's all sorts of stuff with maps and shit. Tells you even how to get there. Drug addiction hotline. 24-hour, 24/7 drug abuse hotlines. Addiction hotlines. There's free ones. There's resources available to you. Use them. Use the tools that are available to you. And thrive, goddammit, thrive. Live your life to the fullest. Don't live your life being weak and giving in to addictions that are going to suck the life out of you like some type of demonic mosquito that once you hit a certain age, you're going to wake up one day and maybe your liver fails, or you're going to wake up one day and your skin's going to be all fucked up and you're going to look at yourself and go, what the hell did I do with myself? And you're going to have to live with the fact that you've done irreversible damage to your physical vessel and your mind. I don't fear what can kill me, ladies and gentlemen. I fear that which can kill my soul. I fear that which can destroy or lead me astray from what I came here to do. Dying for a good cause is an honor, but dying for something evil is how you lose your soul. It's how you lose your mind. It's how you lose the game of life. Because when you go, ladies and gentlemen, when you leave this physical world, all you take with you is what you've become. The actions that you commit here in this dimension create non-physical imprints on your soul that get transcribed into your ancestral astral template, and it lives on and gets transferred over into your genetic lineage into the future. You see, we are connected to our ancestors from the past, and we're also scribing through our actions and setting up our ancestry for the future, where we will incarnate. You came here to go through struggles. If you're going through struggles, you need to learn that you came here to learn something from those struggles. And 9 times out of 10, when you're an addict or when you've become addicted to something, you are being put into a situation where you've got to learn to use your mind and become stronger. That's the beautiful thing about addiction transmutation and letting go of all this bullshit, is that once you actually decide to do it, and you use the tools that I talk about, and you initiate the process of recovery, you are actively participating in the game of becoming strong. You are regaining your strength. You are creating more of a, you're enhancing your genetics. You're enhancing you're actually living your purpose, folks. You didn't come here to die early from drugs. You didn't come here early to die or you didn't come here to not learn from these addictions. You came here to transmute them and evolve out of them and learn a lot from them. You can learn a lot from getting sober. And it can make you tough as nails because it forces you to deal with reality with your heart, with your mind, with your soul, with your perceptions that are unclouded and unjaded and in a non-intoxicated, numbed, artificially altered state. When you decide to get sober and you go into those situations where you used to use drugs and alcohol to make things more comfortable, and you do it sober, and you get through it, You leave feeling uplifted because you start to remember, wow, I have power. I'm not anxious. I can handle life. I have all the tools available in my mind and my body to handle life and tackle it and destroy this fucking evil system. Excuse me, that had nothing to do with what I was talking about in relation to addiction. I'm so passionate about seeing the matrix dissolve that I think it's largely our job here to help it dissolve, but that had nothing to do with addiction. Excuse me. Anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap this one up. Just a brief message on addiction recovery. We handled various different subjects, but I'm exhausted and I need to go get a cup of coffee and some water because my mouth is really dry. But I love you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wanted to remind you that if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please network my videos around so that they can potentially help other people. Please share my videos on your social networks. And if you're interested and you would like to donate to my channel, I just wanted to say that every single penny counts. Every single, whether it's $1, $5, $20 or more, everything really, really helps me. And, you know, if you want to help put some food on my table and keep the lights on around here and help me, you know, just reach more people, you can by donating. There's links in the description box. I have a GoFundMe, I have a PayPal.me, and I have a few other options. I also have a paid subscription service known as Patreon, where you can access hours and hours and hours of bonus video material that you will never find here on the public YouTube channel. Again, all those links are in the the description box below. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace be with you all.